Hello, everybody. I'm going to do probably the shortest presentation that I ever did. Mainly because, I mean, in ZisK right now, we are not doing anything related to AI, but we are doing a lot of things related to ZK. And actually, we are bringing ZK at super high speed. I mean, we are able to prove Ethereum blocks in less than 12 seconds. Actually, it's an average of 6 seconds with just 16 GPUs, which is, I mean, it's a good result, okay? And when the people ask me, okay, how you can use ZK with AI? Okay, my story until now was, okay, yeah, you need a lot of power. With ZK, you need a lot of power, so if you want to combine both things, you will need power square, and this is something that it doesn't work, okay? But let's do the numbers, okay? So let's see, okay, let's use the best thing that we know in ZisK, and let's try to build, I mean, let's say how much would it take to prove a query on an AI model, okay? So, well, the first thing is, okay, what's an AI model? I mean, internally is what are you doing when you are doing an AI model, okay? And what you see is that you do a lot of floating point operations. Actually, here are the different models. I mean, we can start with a teeny one, and we can end up with a ChatGPT. I mean, probably the biggest one that we have. And here we have the list of them, okay? You can see we're going to start with even less than 1 million flops, but you can end up to trillions or even more of flops that you need to do that, okay? So, floating points. You know, floating points and ZK, doesn't sound good, but we are lucky, okay? Maybe we can go to the next slide. And yeah, I mean, it looks like, okay, most of the AI, just they are using 16-bit floating points, very much for speeding up, okay? And in ZK, we can do 16-bit operations really fast. Why? Because at the end, we are using a lookup table. A lookup table of 2 to the 16 to the 16 is a lookup table of 2 to the 32. And this looks like it's not a big, I mean, it's a big table, but it's not that big, okay? Of course, you have different operations, so maybe it's going to be 2 to the 34 or 2 to the 35, whatever it is, okay? And if you are doing a lookup in the case of ZisK is just one and a half cells, okay? Actually, we are doing, we can do 2 operations with 3 cells. That's what I'm saying, 1.5. But this is just the operation, okay? So you will need to do some control flow. I mean, you will need to do some counters, some additions. Maybe if you are doing, for example, a scalar product or something that useful, you will need something else, okay? So here we count, okay, let's put about 10 cells, okay? In 1590, just taking the average of what we are doing in the ZKVM, we more or less are about around 600 million cells per second in a single GPU. Okay, so if we put these numbers together, then these are the results that we get. So we go to the next slide, please. So here are the results. We have 3 columns, 1 GPU, 64 GPUs, and the Snellius one, which is a supercomputer with more than 300 GPUs. And just doing a query for a teeny model, it's perfectly doable even with 1 GPU. So actually, you can do things. If you go to ChatGPT-2, for example, well, it would take 9 minutes in 1 GPU. So it's 9 minutes in a single GPU, which is, it starts to being doable, okay? And if we go to maybe to a cluster of 64 GPU, it's just a few seconds. So that's doable, okay? And if you go to the last case, I mean, this is probably the most interesting. Okay, you want to do the last mean, the most newest AI model, the ChatGPT-4, ChatGPT-5. Okay? Of course, these are estimations. Do not take it as, but it's an estimation of to see where we are right now. Okay, with this, I mean, probably with a single GPU, it's a little bit undoable. I mean, 8 years to prove a query, it's probably too much in a single GPU. But definitively, well, 64 GPUs is 49 days, but in a supercomputer, you could do it in a week. Probably it's a lot for most of the applications, but I think that these numbers can give you a little bit the state of the art if you want to prove AI with ZK, at least doing in the way that we are doing, we just using standard ways of doing ZKs on that. So I hope this is useful, but if any of you is interested in doing AI, we're absolutely open to talk about. We have all the experience to prove other things on there, but these are the numbers where we could be. Okay, so thank you very much. This was my presentation on that.